Michael Jordan tried baseball at the peak of his basketball career. Britney Spears tried to transition into acting. Natalie Portman, an actress, she tried to become a shoe designer. Steven Spielberg, a film director, who was super successful, tried creating restaurants. That failed, those got shut down. Overthinking makes winners fail. In this video, I'm going to talk about overthinking and how it makes even people who have seen success and people who consider themselves winners fail.
You know about that?
Everyone overthinks at times, right? Including myself. I'm gonna tell you how sometimes you don't even realize you're overthinking and it causes you to spiral out of control to where you feel lost, and how you can identify it and stop doing it. I've realized that when I overthink, it tends to put me on a negative trajectory and it messes with the momentum that I have. Anytime I've lost momentum in my life, which has been plenty of times, it was because I was overthinking and thought that whatever I was working on was possibly not the best thing that I should be doing, and that I wasn't capable of reaching the top in that field. When in reality, it was just me doing biased research against what I actually want. Let me make one thing clear. You can get any answer that you want by doing biased research. For example, I was boxing yesterday, right? And as I was hitting the punching bag, I kept hitting my thumb and hurting my thumb. And then I started thinking, like, is my thumb like too long for boxing? And as I was driving home, I'm looking at my thumb, and I'll show you the video right now. I'm like, damn, my thumb is long as f. I was thinking, maybe my thumb is just way too long for boxing and I might risk breaking my thumb every time I'm fighting. And I started thinking, maybe this is not for me. Maybe this is meant for other people with shorter thumbs. And I started doing research and I started looking up boxers. Now, what's gonna happen when I start looking up boxers breaking their thumbs? I'm gonna find boxers that are breaking their thumbs. And then I start doing research and find out that this is called the boxer's fracture, which means it's pretty common for boxers to break their thumbs. And I'm thinking, like, my thumb is super long, so it's gonna be even more common for me. Prime example of biased research.
Can you believe that?
Another example, I was majoring in forensic accounting. I look up, is forensic accounting boring? Depression rate of forensic accountants. Of course I'm gonna find research on that. Of course I'm gonna have biased answers on that. Why does it take so long to succeed in real estate? Instead of looking up, how fast can you see success in real estate? So research, biased research, this is one thing that could lead you down the rabbit hole. Another thing, you ever notice how when people are talking passionately about something that you don't really care much about, and then you find yourself actually agreeing with them in the conversation just to keep the flow of the conversation, unless you're like argumentative or something. Gary, I freaking hate beer, man. Why, dude? I like beer. It just gets me so bloated. I've been drinking beer a lot at like parties, bars, because it usually keeps me like tipsy throughout the whole night. I never get too drunk. It usually keeps me just right. Oh, I see. Yeah, and I realized it takes like 7 beers to finally feel something. But when I take whiskey, right, I just take like 3 shots and I'm good for the rest of the night. Yeah, that's true. And it doesn't really make you feel bloated, right? Yeah, I don't, man. Yeah, and just a few drinks for the night and you're set, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You see how Gary just started agreeing with everything he was saying? Conversation made sense, but Gary actually liked beer, but he ended up just agreeing with the other guy to keep the conversation going. And the guy who was talking about beer, let's call him Bob, was validating all his concerns. People are gonna do the same thing with you, right? If you're overthinking and you start having conversations with people about the negatives of something, you start talking about all the cons, they might agree with you and validate all your false concerns. And after all these conversations and all the biased research, eventually you come to the conclusion that you should stop doing the thing that you actually enjoy and the thing that might lead to your success. And by the end of it, you've just created a whole research paper on why you shouldn't be renting properties and listing them on Airbnb to make money when you just spent 3 months of research and going through courses and hiring mentors, when in reality that would have been a perfect career path for you. This is a vicious cycle. I've done it. In my video where I talk about impulse control, I dive into how it's our impulses that lead to this and how it also contributes to your road to failure. Go watch that video after this video. And if you like this video so far, please like it. It costs you nothing. It really helps me out. And drop a comment on a time that you've done this. But yeah, I've done this far too many times. I start to think about all the things that can go wrong, what other people might think, what people will think if I fail. Will this take time away from me doing something else that actually might lead to more success? And some people aren't so fortunate. They end up switching from career to career or hobby to hobby all the way up until they're like 50 years old. And they end up failing so late in life and never develop the success that they want. They never reach their full potential. Michael Jordan tried baseball at the peak of his basketball career. That obviously didn't work out. According to Sports Illustrated, he called himself the team's worst player and returned to the NBA in March 1995. Britney Spears tried to transition into acting. That obviously didn't work out. In 2002, she was in a movie called Crossroads, which got 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. Natalie Portman, an actress, actress. She tried to become a shoe designer, started up a line of footwear in February 2008. Just a few months later, her store closed for good, so that obviously didn't work out. Steven Spielberg, a film director who was super successful, tried creating restaurants. That failed, those got shut down. Obviously, these were people that were already wildly successful, but I use them as examples since you know them. But these are prime examples where someone is really good at something, but they make an attempt to change what they're doing, likely because they're overthinking, and maybe they think that the career path they're on is not their passion. And all these people I've named went right back to what they were doing before. It's great to try things, don't get me wrong, but don't completely drop what you're doing and completely transition into something you've never done before. One really good piece of advice I have for overthinking and switching and not being decisive is to take it one step at a time, right? Take it one day at a time. I used to think this phrase was so stupid, take it one day at a time, because I'm like, what am I gonna do? Take it 2 days at a time? Take it a week at a time? I have to take it a day at a time. But I soon realized what this really means. Stop thinking about the 80 steps ahead of you. Just think of the next step ahead of you, right? Think of the next thing you need to do. This goes for doing anything. Not only your career path, but like, let's say you're in college, you have to write this big essay. Don't think about the whole 8 pages you have to write. Think about what you're gonna put in the first page. Write that. Think about the second page. Write that. So apply what I'm saying here into anything else. Take it just one step at a time. Sometimes overthinking happens on a subconscious level, but the way that you're gonna be able to identify it, right? Whenever you feel like quitting something and you're considering all these different things, start doing research. At that very moment, right? You start talking bad about it, all these different things. At that moment, stop and think, am I just overthinking this because I don't wanna go through the hardships right now? It's not so exciting anymore because I'm not just starting. Maybe I'm fully immersed in this now and I actually have to take action. And the action I have to take is much more difficult than I thought. Stop right there, realize that you're overthinking and you're thinking too far ahead, and just focus on the next step. Overthinking is gonna pull you in so many different directions if you let it. You need to hone in on your one thing that's been proven to work by other people and stick to it. Learn to stay laser focused and weed out all the bullshit that's trying to make you change course. Anytime you think to yourself, maybe I should try this, maybe I should try that, maybe I'm not good at this, stop it. If you really want it, stick to it and don't let your subconscious mind get in the way. That's the end of this video. Watch this video right here. I appreciate you watching this video. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Boom. And it doesn't really make you feel bloated, right? Yeah, I don't. Can you stay in there? You ruined it. Ruining it all.